A few weeks ago, I made a video called the #1 reason why you should not move to Dubai. And in today's video, I thought it would be fitting to just tell you a little bit about the top reasons why you actually should probably consider moving to Dubai. And also just full disclaimer here, this is just my personal opinion. What I'm gonna go through with you today is just some of the parameters I looked at before I moved here, and also some of the things, I've picked up after living in Dubai for the last like 9 or 10 months. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, people move to Dubai for different reasons, but this was just some of the things that I actually looked at. Also, before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Rasmus. I'm the owner of Minix. That's a performance marketing agency where we specialize in helping e-commerce brands scale through UGC videos and paid advertising. Also, if you end up enjoying this video and actually get some value from it, I would really appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. That would massively help me out. And if you have any questions after watching this video, just leave your question down below. I read all comments and respond to all questions. So yeah, if there's anything you want to talk about, anything you want clarified, make sure to just leave it down below and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. But with that being said though, let's get straight into it. So the first of the 3 reasons why you should move to Dubai is the most obvious one, is to protect your money, right? Protect your wealth if you're someone who's a high net worth individual, or if you just in general make a lot of money. Obviously Dubai is, very accommodating to that. It's, considered a tax haven. I'm not sure if it's considered anymore with the 9% corporate tax, but like there's still ways to get around it. And if you have a free zone company and you only do business, outside of the UAE and Dubai, then from my understanding, you should still be good to go. And obviously you can just pull out a lot of money in salary and in dividends, and that way you can kind of offset that 9% corporate tax. But again, like that's really not a lot compared to what it is in the West. So obviously taxes, if you're someone who makes a lot of money, that's an obvious reason for why you should probably consider moving to Dubai. That was definitely also part of the reason why I moved. There's 2 other reasons why I moved that's actually above taxes, which I'll get into in just a second. But obviously, if you're someone who just has a lot of money and you actually want to protect your wealth, then Dubai is a great place for that. And not only taxes, but also just in terms of knowing that your money will not get like stolen almost. I've seen a lot of videos online from people, either dealing with high net worth clients or people who just make a lot of money that live in the West, like live in the UK, live in the US, talking about their bank accounts just suddenly getting shut down. And I was like, it doesn't really make sense. Like I didn't really understand, like, is this like a marketing ploy? Like, what are they talking about? Like, does this actually happen? But I actually had it happen to me as well. So I had one of my banks in Denmark reach out to me recently, like a month ago or something like that. And they told me like, hey Rasmus, we would like you to send over all documentation and all your bank statements from all the Danish bank accounts you have, both corporate and private, and also all your bank statements from all your corporate and private accounts offshore, so in Dubai. Not only that, we would also like to see proof of ownership in all the different companies you own, both in Denmark and outside of Denmark. And if you don't actually provide that information to us, we're just gonna shut down your account. I don't really want to give up that information. Like, not because I'm doing anything weird, it's just odd that one bank that I have like just a little bit of money, it's like I barely even used it. Why would you be so aggressive, and why do you actually want to know so much information about all my life? Like what's in it for you knowing what I have in Dubai and in my Dubai bank accounts and what I spend my money on? Like that's none of your business. So I told them like politely, hey, I would like to decline that request that you basically gave me. And they were like, okay, great. You have like a month to find a new bank or figure out what you're gonna do with your money. Otherwise, we're just gonna be shutting down your account. Luckily, I have a second Danish bank account. Learned that from my dad, just always be diversified. So just transferred the money over to the other bank account. And luckily, nothing really happened from it. But it was weird. Like it seemed like they were really afraid of me living in Dubai or something. And they were like, hey, like they came up with all these reasons for why they actually need it. And I was like, no sense whatsoever, because there's no money flowing into that account and there's no money flowing out of that account. Like I literally just had very, very small amount. I don't even think $1,000 in that account. So it's like, why are you so aggressive with it? But apparently they wanted to know all that and yeah, shut down my account basically. So from my understanding and from what I've heard from other people and also just my experience in general now, having Dubai accounts, is that they don't really ask a lot of questions. They don't really care. It's like, it's your money. You can just use it however you want. And it's much, much better than at least what I'm used to deal with in Denmark. Like whenever I would send money from Denmark to Dubai, for example, whenever I got set up here first, I had to go through a lot of different calls and sign contracts and sign documents proving that the money I was sending to Dubai was actually going to the right places. There was so much stuff like I had to do to just get my money out of the country. And I was like, why do you care about this? Yeah, that's been my experience so far with Denmark and like Dubai banks. And whenever I've transferred money from Dubai to, you know, my employees or done anything with my money, like sometimes I get a call just saying, hey, you know, is this you who made the transfer? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, perfect. And usually every time I make a transfer in Dubai, whenever, like whether it's to my employees in Argentina or my employees in the UK, they're usually there within like 48 hours, usually like 24 hours. So everything's like super swift and super easy compared to what I'm used to in Denmark, at least. So that's been really good. Now, the second reason why you probably should consider moving to Dubai is if your environment affects you a lot, either just in terms of like overall happiness or in terms of productivity, depending on, you know, what you value most in life or, you know, whatever you look at. For me, I get affected a lot by the environment. So that was actually the biggest thing for me in terms of what I looked at when I was looking at where to move. And so for me, what's been great about Dubai and why I love Dubai so much is because there's sun all year and there's, you know, the climate is amazing. So obviously in Denmark, we're used to, and especially just in general, if you live in Europe or at least like the northern part of Europe or UK, you know, during the winter, it's pretty miserable. You get not a lot of sun. It's very, very cold. And it's just generally, it's just miserable during winter. There's just no way around it. In Dubai, it's the opposite. The winter is like the best time of the year. And during summer, it also gets like unbearably hot in Dubai. But then you have the best time of the year in Europe, at least in Denmark, during summer. So I'm just gonna leave Dubai for a couple months, go to Denmark. I'm gonna have like a few trips planned in Europe, go see that, get away from all the heat, and then come back when, you know, it's all cooled down a little bit. And so for me, having that sun during winter when I'm in my busiest time of the year, so usually Q4 and Q1 will be the busiest time of the year for me. And so having that sun and that, you know, warm climate where I can just go out in shorts and a t-shirt and kind of feel like I'm on vacation whenever I go outside, because I am working from like basically 5 a.m. till like 8 p.m. almost every single day, so it can get a lot. So having that little break for me is amazing, and I really value that, and makes me like just not as depressed, because winter depression is a real thing in Scandinavia and in Denmark. And also the second thing I really like about the environment here is that there's a lot of high net worth individuals. It's just a lot of money in Dubai. Everyone knows this. And for me, I get a lot of motivation from being around, you know, supercars and just being able to look outside, because I live in the marina right now, and just seeing all the wealth. That makes me super, super motivated and very driven, and it makes me want to achieve more. So whenever I'm like in a rut or something, I can just go outside and I can just look out my window, get some sort of motivation and inspiration, and be able to like tell myself and remind myself again, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I working so hard? It's because I want to live a better life. And so just being around high net worth people, and also the network I've kind of build up and slowly building up here in Dubai, you know, I'm trying to be around these types of people, the high achievers, so that I can be in those circles, because the conversations you have with those people are very, very different to, you know, people that maybe not are trying to achieve a whole lot in life. At least that's one of the big differences I've noticed moving here to Dubai compared to just speaking with my friends back home. Like the conversation is just very, very different. It's not about drinking, it's not about sex, like dumb stories. It's about like, hey, this is what I'm doing with my business. What do you think I can do better? And, you know, what new systems are you implementing? And, you know, how can we just overall make more money? And how can we be in better shape? How can we be happier as individuals? And those are the types of conversations that I really enjoy. So if your environment, like me, is something that affects you a lot, I think Dubai is a great, great place to be, depending on obviously where you come from in the world. But for me, coming from Denmark, a very like socialist country with high taxes, that's been a great change for me, because I feel more at home here with the people I'm surrounded by and the people that I talk to on like a daily basis. And then the third and last thing is that you should probably consider moving to Dubai if you just want, in general, a higher quality of life. And what I mean by that is a couple things. Like, first of all, what I really enjoyed moving here and what I figured out is that there is literally a service for everything. And maybe this is because Denmark is just underdeveloped, but in Denmark, like, we don't just have an app. Like, we have Just Life here, which is an app where you can just book any sort of service you want. If you want a maid, you can book a maid through there. If you want your nails cleaned, you can book it through there. If you're moving and you need a moving company, or you need guys to just come pack down your entire apartment, you can book it through there. If you need an electrician or a plumber, you book all of these sorts of like minuscule services through a single app, and we don't have that in Denmark. If you want to call an electrician or you want to get a plumber, you need to go on Google, find someone with high ratings, and then you need to call them up, and then they can come out in maybe a week or something. Through Just Life, for example, they will come within 24 hours most of the time, right? And I have a maid that just comes once a week and just cleans up my entire apartment. It's super nice. We don't have that option in Denmark. So for me at least, and I don't know if it's like this in all countries, I'm assuming not, but for me it's just been really, really cool and really amazing that everything I don't want to do, I can just outsource that through some simple app. And usually, you don't need more than like 1 or 2 or 3 apps, and then you have basically everything. There's also an app for like, if let's say you drive to a restaurant and you get something to drink that you didn't plan on, you drink some alcohol. You can't drive if you're under any sort of influence in Dubai. They literally have an app where you can book a guy that will come and pick up your car, drive you home in your car, and then he will leave. So that way you don't have to go the next day to somewhere and pick up your car. You just have it in your parking lot like you usually have, and everything is normal. And that's the sort of things you can do in Dubai that I've just never really experienced before. You can also get someone to come with a car and fill up your gas tank while you're not even there. You just leave like the thing to actually open like your gas tank open, and then they will come with the car, fill up your gas, and you pay online, and it's done. Super, super easy. So you can literally outsource everything you don't want to do in Dubai. And a comment I see on some of my videos is like, oh yeah, but it's also easy for you, Rasmus, because you make good money, and if you're an employee, you don't make any money in Dubai because everyone is underpaid. And I truly just don't think that's true. I do know that people probably don't get paid as much as you would in, for example, the US, but I think it's because you just don't have a high-paying skill. Because if you had a high-paying skill and you were really good at something, I promise you could make a ton of money. The previous tenant that lived in this apartment, she had a salary that was like around $80,000 a year, but then she also had an extra like 50,000, something like that, a year in just allowance. So she had like an extra 50K a year just to like spend on apartments and stuff like that. And so it is possible. It is possible as an employee to make a lot of money. I know that. I have like 11 people employed right now. And as long as you bring a lot of money to the company that you work for and you actually provide value, then I promise you would also get compensated fairly. And even if you are, an employee in Europe or in the US, something, most jobs today are, remote. So you can probably move to Dubai. I'm assuming so. Probably not for everyone, but I do know there is jobs out there where you can just be fully remote, and just having that no tax system in place here in Dubai just means you have much, much higher disposable income. Let's say you're making, 10K a month or 5K a month. Instead of having, 6 or 3K left over after taxes in whatever country you're in, you now have 10 or 5K available every single month. So you can either spend more on your cost of living and just upgrade your lifestyle to have a better quality of life, or you can spend the same amount of money, but then save up that difference that you're making up in tax, right? And I want to clarify this, like Dubai is not only for the ultra wealthy people. It's just because what you see on social media is people flexing. I know people here that spends 10K a year on their apartment, and that's not a lot of money. You can find apartments for like 1K a month USD. The reason why you probably think Dubai is expensive is because A, you don't have a high paying skill, you don't actually provide any real value to the company that you work for, and that's why you're not making good money. Or you upgrade your lifestyle and you suffer from lifestyle inflation because now you have all this extra disposable income and you're just spending more, and you're spending even more than you might be saving. So therefore you're thinking, oh, Dubai is actually super expensive, while in reality you should probably have downgraded your apartment a little bit and maybe not gone out as much as you're doing. But Dubai can 100% be for super normal people. Like, it's super, super doable. Don't get me wrong about that. It's not only for people making 6 figures or multiple 6 figures a year. You can be a super normal employee and still spend less or the same than what you're doing in your home country. I guarantee you that. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. So those are the 3 reasons why you should probably consider moving to Dubai. A, to protect your money. B, if you're someone who gets affected by your environment a lot. And C, if you just want a higher quality of life. So I hope you got some real value from this. If you did, I would really appreciate if you could hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any questions, anything you want clarified, or any thoughts on this video, leave them down below. I would love to read your comments and respond to any questions you might have. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.